Think about the last time you chased someone. Maybe it was a text you sent that was never answered the way you hoped. Maybe it was an effort you made that went completely unnoticed. Maybe it was love you gave again and again to someone who just kept walking away. And still, you tried harder. You told yourself, maybe if I just explain better, maybe if I just show them how much I care, maybe if I just give a little more. Can I ask you something honestly? How exhausted are you? Not just physically, but soul exhausted. That deep, quiet tiredness that comes from pouring yourself into people who never once poured back into you. Carl Jung said something that I think about every single time I witness this pattern in people. He said, "The most common form of despair is not being who you are." And I want you to really sit with that. Because the day you stop chasing people is not the day you give up. It is the day you finally come home to yourself. Stay with me. Because what comes next will change everything. First, let's talk about why this happens. Because nobody wakes up one day and decides, I think I'll spend my energy chasing people who don't want to be caught. It starts much earlier than that. Jung believed that our earliest relationships, the very first bonds we form as human beings, they create what he called a psychological blueprint, a deep, unconscious map of what love looks like, what connection feels like, what we have to do to be worthy of it. And for many people, that blueprint got written in pain. Maybe love in your early life felt unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes cold, sometimes present, sometimes gone. And you learned, unconsciously, that love was something you had to work for, earn, chase. That pattern, it followed you into your friendships, your relationships, your family dynamics. Every time someone pulled away, something deep inside you said, run after them, prove your worth, don't let them leave. Jung called this the wound of conditional love, the belief buried so deep you don't even know it's there, that you are only lovable when you are useful, when you are giving, when you are chasing. And here's the heartbreaking part. The more you chase, the less people value what you're offering, not because your love isn't real, but because what is freely available is rarely deeply treasured. Now let's talk about what this pattern actually takes from you. Because most people focus on the person they're chasing, what they're thinking, why they're pulling away, what they can do differently. But Jung said that focus itself is the problem. Every moment you spend chasing someone who isn't choosing you, you are not choosing yourself. Every text you agonize over sending, every conversation you replay, looking for what you did wrong. Every moment you dim your own light, trying to make someone else comfortable enough to stay. That is energy. Real, precious, irreplaceable energy. Jung talked about something he called psychic energy, the life force that drives everything you feel, create, and become. And he said, this energy is not unlimited. What you give to one thing, you take from another. When you pour your psychic energy into chasing people who are walking away, you are taking it from yourself, from your growth, from your healing, from the life you are supposed to be building. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start to disappear. Not all at once, but in small ways. You stop pursuing things that excited you. You stop showing up for yourself the way you show up for everyone else. You start measuring your worth by whether or not this one person finally turns around. Jung called this psychological self-abandonment, and he said it was one of the most painful and most common things he witnessed in his patients. You cannot chase someone else and stay present with yourself at the same time. It is simply not possible. So when does it change? Jung described a moment he witnessed in people who had finally broken this pattern. He called it a psychic turning point, a moment of such profound clarity that nothing looks the same afterward. It usually doesn't come gradually. It comes like a quiet earthquake. One day, you send that text, or you make that effort, or you show up one more time, and something inside you just stops. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in a kind of deep, still recognition. This is not where my energy belongs. And in that moment, something extraordinary happens. You stop looking outward at the person walking away, and you start looking inward, maybe for the first time in a very long time, at yourself, at what you need, at what you deserve, at how long you have been standing in your own shadow, trying to be the light for someone who never asked to be saved. Jung said this moment, this quiet, internal shift, is the beginning of what he called individuation, the journey of becoming fully, completely, unapologetically yourself. And it starts with one simple but revolutionary act: letting go, not with hate, not with a dramatic goodbye, but with grace, with dignity, with the quiet understanding that some people are simply not meant to stay in your story. Here is where Jung's wisdom becomes truly life-changing. He said, and I want you to really hear this, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who someone else needs you to be. Not the version of yourself that is small enough, quiet enough, accommodating enough to make someone uncomfortable with their own depth feel safe. Who you truly are. And Jung observed something remarkable about people who stopped chasing, people who finally turned that energy back toward themselves. They became magnetic, not because they played games, not because they became cold or unavailable, but because they discovered something that people who chase never find. When you are fully present with yourself, you stop needing people to complete you. And that energy, that wholeness, that quiet confidence, that unshakable sense of self, it draws people in naturally, effortlessly, without a single chasing text, without a single desperate conversation. Jung said the people worth having in your life will always find their way to someone who has found their way to themselves. But first, you have to do the work of coming home. And what does that look like practically? It looks like redirecting every moment you would have spent overthinking someone else's behavior toward understanding your own. It looks like asking, what do I actually want? Not what do I want from them, but what do I want from my life? It looks like filling your own cup with the things that light you up, the things that make you feel alive, the relationships that are easy, not because they're shallow, but because they're mutual. I want to paint you a picture of who you become when you finally stop chasing. You become someone who moves through the world differently. You stop shrinking in rooms where you are not celebrated. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand you. You stop performing your worth for an audience that was never really watching anyway. You start to notice, slowly, quietly, beautifully, that the right people don't need to be chased. They show up. They stay. They choose you back. Not because you convinced them, not because you were persistent enough, but because when two whole people meet, no chasing is needed. Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. And this is the greatest gift that comes from finally stopping. You wake up to yourself, to your worth, to the extraordinary, irreplaceable, deeply valuable person you have been this entire time, while you were too busy chasing someone else to notice The day you stop chasing people is not a loss. It is the day your real life finally begins. Before you go, I want to leave you with something real. Think about one person you have been chasing, one relationship where you have been giving far more than you have been receiving, and ask yourself this one question. If they never changed, if they never chose me the way I choose them, would I still want to keep pouring into this? Your honest answer to that question is your next step. If this video touched something deep inside you today, please leave a comment below. Tell me, are you ready to stop chasing? Even one word. Yes. Because that one word might be the beginning of everything changing for you. And if you are on this journey of coming home to yourself, subscribe to the Inner Persona. Every single week, we go deeper into the psychology of healing, self-worth, and transformation through the wisdom of Carl Jung. Because the most powerful thing you will ever do is stop running after people who are walking away from you and start walking with purpose, with peace, with everything you are toward yourself. You are worth chasing. It's time you believe that.